In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Frans van Staden, and he's handing over from the folks over at iTMethods. And they're basically there to modernize and allow you to run your enterprise dev tools in the cloud, DevOps tools in the cloud. And that's what we're all about. So how can you get, you're well aware of all the tools, Jira, CloudBees, Sonatype, AWS, basically how to manage them all in one place. So today, we want to really deep dive into that with Frans and also talk about growth for the company. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Lucas. Very excited to be here and share a little bit about what we do and our company. So yeah, I guess I'll just jump right into it. I'm the senior marketing manager at iTMethods, and iTMethods, although company size-wise we're quite small, we do work with some of the biggest, highly regulated enterprises in the world. And we help them to run their DevOps tools securely in the cloud on our managed DevOps SaaS platform. So we do everything from integrating, migrating, modernizing, and then taking their complex multi-vendor DevOps environments and putting it into one place so they can focus on creating software and not all the stuff that comes along with managing their tools. So that's really the big value that we provide for these enterprise teams.
Makes a lot of sense. So what makes a great client? Like, is there a certain, you mentioned enterprise teams, is there a certain, team size, a certain scale, a certain user base? Like what makes it, what makes a great fit basically?
Yeah, so I mean, we do look at company size, and I mean, a lot of companies, predominantly produce software these days. So yeah, any company that's got 200 plus developers, they usually find value in what we do because they tend to work in complex environments, hybrid clouds. Some is on-prem, some still on server. So we help them just decomplicate all of that, so they can again focus on creating software and not managing the tools, which is not really what they're there for. So yeah, it's usually the larger enterprises, kind of the 5,000 plus employees that has a couple of hundred developers that find real value in our service.
And before I mention, before we go even deeper into this, like, who would be the person in those? I mean, there's large tech teams, dev teams, engineering teams. Yeah. Who's typically the champion bringing in iTMethods?
Yeah, it's we touch on a lot of people within the organizations, and we've seen some of the conversations we've had. We always used to just focus on, I guess, the end user, which would be the devs and the software engineers, but it's mostly I guess the management within that team. So most managers and I guess senior and mid-level are looking to do more with less resources, and we allow them to do that without having to have a specific team taking care of this. We kind of augment and supplement some of those services. So it's moved from just the people using the tool that's like, oh, these guys are great, we should use them, to the people that really manage the budgets and manage the resources within large software development teams. So it's been interesting to see how that changed. And even at the C level right now, CFOs are so involved and getting a lot more technical in some of these organizations, and they understand the value we bring to the table, not just in I guess resources you can split up into time and money. So we save both of those, which really resonates well with people signing the checks. So that's been good.
Very good. So now, what would you say? How do they actually learn about iTMethods? Like, what's their journey? Like, how do they discover? In other words, what are the client acquisition channels that you guys are leveraging?
So I mean, we have a multi-pronged approach, really. A lot of integrated campaigns, a lot of stuff talking to each other. We've invested heavily in our marketing tech stack to make sure everything shares information across different tools. So it is a mixture of organic, even social, and then also a lot of paid advertising. I would say the best quality leads we do get, though, is from partner referrals. So we work a lot with partner and tool vendors, people like CloudBees, GitHub, GitLab, Sonatype, Atlassian, all of them. So we work closely with their salespeople and marketing people to kind of deliver a joint go-to-market, so to speak, and we get a lot of customer referrals from them. So that's where a lot of customers hear about us for the first time, and we attach ourselves to their brand credibility and recognition as an add-on service to make these tools that they already use more effective and more optimized. So that would still be our number one channel, but we invest a lot of our time and a lot of our resources in building and strengthening those relationships we have with partners, so we can get even more referrals. But yeah, it's really trying to get all of the different attribution channels working together. That's the goal. And as you're well aware of, that takes a lot of time and refinement and constant improvement. So that's what keeps me and my team on our toes.
You mentioned the partnership model, and maybe I can sort of jump on that for a second, because I mean, we get actually a lot of questions from marketers on that, because it's not that easy, right, to win all of these great companies as partners and promoting your product. Is there anything that you can share on, maybe what have you found, like what motivates those, strong partners to work with you guys? Like, what is a great way of introducing yourself as partners? Maybe there's some one or two nuggets of insights you can share.
Yeah, I mean, the value of just in person and like real conversations on a boardroom table is still not going anywhere. Although a lot of the stuff's moved digitally, and certainly everything we do is based around cloud and not being in an on-prem environment. It's just building those relationships and really establishing the value that we can add to their customers. So we're not trying to take away any business from anybody like this. We just giving their salespeople an additional way to improve or grow their customer base, and also offer their customers better solutions than what their company can offer now. So it is tricky. It takes a lot of time and effort, but our company's been around for just 17 years now. So those relationships take a lot of time to build up. We just actually won the CloudBees Partner of the Year for Americas yesterday, got announced officially. So yeah, these types of things go a long way for us. And it really just, kind of strengthens the idea of, the in-person, taking time to build relationships is still something that's so key. You don't just end up on someone's marketplace, or you don't just end up talking to the right growth channel partners at these big companies. You have to really invest the time to do that. So thankfully we are there, but we can always grow and invest more. But it's been fun working with some people and learning what they do and how we can implement it on our side.
Very good. What role do you think the website then plays? iTMethods.com, what role does it play in the journey of a potential customer maybe that doesn't come through a partner?
Yeah, so it's really a massive key for us. Obviously, it's our homepage gets thousands and thousands of views every month, and we really try and portray that we simplify and enable teams to be better. So it's not just a technology, it's also a managed service that we provide. So trying to answer the questions that people have typed into Google really quickly and effectively, that's a challenge that faces my team, and trying to simplify something that's very complicated, but we do, into something that's super easy to understand across many different decision makers within an organization. That's challenging, but that's really what our website is for. So we try and create an experience where it's easy to find the information that you need. If your team uses a very specific DevOps tool like a CloudBees or Sonatype, there are dedicated pages that explain exactly how that tool will run on our platform and what the benefits are for you, and then multiple resources that you can learn more and read more, white papers, ebooks, webinars, all of that stuff. So yeah, we try and use our website as a very high level educational tool to just answer some of the questions, and then entice people to get in touch with us to learn exactly how we can help them. That's changing. Our solutions and some of our products that we're busy putting together is changing to address a lot of the questions that we do get that we don't necessarily answer right now. So we take all of that information, try and digest it, and try and give our customers something that'll solve their problems.
Yeah, makes a whole lot of sense. What would you say then, if we talk about the website as a marketer, right? Most marketers we get on the show here are very critical with their own website. Like, where do you see sort of a strength of, the website, versus where do you see even room for further improvement to, maybe enhance that journey and, getting people into
Oh
don't
yeah,
request
I
something else.
mean, super critical of our website. So if people that might see it from the outside, yeah, it looks good, and I kind of find what I want. But obviously, looking at the back end and the data attached to where people click and what they view, um, room for improvement for us is really simplifying the journey for each persona. Like I mentioned before, we used to focus really on the devs and the engineers, and it's kind of moved up the chain a little bit. So how does a CFO that doesn't necessarily understand AWS or Kubernetes, or doesn't even quite understand what these tools do, but still needs to see the value that they can have from using our services? How do we break that journey up and give those people the right messaging? That's a challenge, and we obviously working on that. But that would be the main, I guess, critical point I have. And then also just the copywriting. I mean, it's tricky to take on the tone of voice you need for each persona, but still keep a kind of general IT methods voice. So that's something that always needs refinement and work from our side.
And is there something that you've learned as a marketer over the years when it comes to then convert people on the page? Any methods, tools, approaches, way of thinking that you're using in order to sort of improve a page?
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes comes down to something as simple as the color of the button for submit on the on the form, right? And just the fields, obviously, as a marketer and trying to give information to a salesperson, you want as much stuff that they click and fill out. But sometimes people don't want to fill out all that information, and doesn't mean that they're not a qualified lead. So how do we simplify that? How do we not make every field required but still have the information we need to have a successful follow-up? Those are things that we've worked on, and we've changed a lot of our forms and the information that we need to have in order to have a successful follow-up. But yeah, I guess it's really just the way you present your solutions too, because you can focus on features and benefits, or you can just focus on outcomes. And I feel like a lot of the stuff we're working on now is really making it clear what your outcomes will be if you use our services or our solutions, and not necessarily just naming a whole bunch of features of bullets and graphics, because for some people that doesn't really resonate unless you know what those individual features and benefits mean. But if you focus on the outcomes that we provide, it's a little easier to understand what you'll get.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'd love to switch gears a little bit. We talked about the company, we talked about the channels, the website. I would love to talk a little bit about you as a marketer, right? So there's so much content out there, right, that you could study and learn from. What do you personally find are good resources for yourself as a marketer to keep on educating yourself? Where do you find high quality information in all the noise?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of noise. And I certainly probably subscribe to too many marketing newsletters, because every morning I have about 5 or 6. But the one that I do find useful is I think there's two different newsletters for HubSpot. One's like more about just company updates, and one's specific to like new marketing tools and courses. So that one I find really useful. I use HubSpot as our CRM, and I've been using HubSpot for many years. I'm a big fan. I always sound like a sales rep when I talk about it, because I always encourage people to use it if they haven't. But that's been super super useful. I also subscribe to a newsletter called DTC, which is maybe not exactly in the field that I work in, but I do find a lot of the tips for like direct to consumer marketing approaches. Uh, I try and find the overlap there, and it's really interesting to stay on top of it, because I've been working in the B2B SaaS space at an enterprise level companies for so long. You don't want to, get too out of touch with some of the tech that these folks are using. And then just some marketing podcasts, and I read a lot of articles. YouTube's been great too, trying to learn from people who've seen and done it before, and have solved the challenges that I'm facing. So yeah, I just try and take in as much information as I can when I have the time.
Very cool. So as the very last question, I would like to ask you, if today would be your very first day joining iTmethods, what's the one advice that you would give yourself?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. There's a lot of advice I would give, but I guess the one thing I would say is just to take a bit more time, be a bit more patient, then try and pretend like you know everything about everything already. Solving complex challenges with a company that provides good but complex solutions, it takes time to really ingest all of that, and for you to be able to, you know, transfer that message onto potential customers. So it's really just yeah, don't rush into things. Just take your time. You'll get there, even if it's a couple of weeks later than you would have thought.
Fun. Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathon Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about IT methods, what's the one thing that people should remember?
I guess the one thing people should remember is to iTMethods. Our biggest product is our managed DevOps SaaS platform. And this really allows enterprise software teams to create better software faster and more securely. So this just makes them focused on what they need to do, which is create better software for their end customers. We'll take care of managing the tools and making sure you're as optimized and safe as possible.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathon Presents.